Welcome to Weekday Somatics. There we go. I don't have to give the warning. I was going to give a warning. I got a comment about the roosters. And we actually have two roosters. The roosters I described as the roosters of repose. So the roosters are the divine teachers of repose. So notice if your idea of what you're looking for, just see what it is that you think you're looking for. Are you looking to zone out? Are you looking to experience temporary bliss? Are you looking to experience something temporarily, or are you looking for something stable? And if you're looking for something stable, then the roosters offer you a great blessing, because you never know when they might crow. And if you don't know when they might crow, but you know that they might, then what do you do? And it's a really powerful teaching, really, really powerful teaching. We're surrounded by teachers. The true teacher is everywhere. The true teacher is within. The true teacher is manifest in every experience, outwardly and inwardly. Every experience, everything, 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 everything. That thought, that feeling, that sensation, that person, that sound, all of it. And when we really get that, wow, what a blessing our lives turns out to be. All right, so the warning is the roosters may crow at any moment. Be prepared. Be prepared by being profoundly relaxed and profoundly present. And then let's choose a posture. And today, choose a posture that you that you can inhabit with confidence. What does that mean? So you can start tuning out the words. You're like, yeah, blah, blah, blah. I know what he's going to say. Choose a posture that's going to inhabit with confidence. But can you actually be confident? That's the key. True confidence. So challenge yourself. Challenge yourself in a loving way. So it's not abusive. It's not, let's see if I can do something until I collapse. It's how lovingly, gently, stable, and empowered can I choose to remain and to deepen into for the next 50 minutes. So that this time together can be a time in which we are training ourselves so that our entire life becomes a spiritual practice. And what does that mean? It means so that every moment of our lives, waking, dreaming, sleeping, Every single moment is a moment in which we are aware, present, and happy. Choosing happiness, choosing presence, choosing contentment, choosing fulfillment, choosing peace, choosing joy, choosing strength, choosing courage, choosing faith, choosing truth. You see why I say it's a big deal? It's a microcosm. Just to choose the posture, then you don't even need anything else if you're just doing that. Correct. Any posture. Sitting, lying down, lounging, on your back, on your side, on your head, any posture. But the challenge is the posture that is truthful for you, the posture that you can inhabit with confidence, and just make the choice. Just make the choice and commit to it. But to make the choice, you have to know yourself. You have to have some knowledge of yourself, because without that knowledge, you'll say, I don't know. I'm unable to do it. You'll become paralyzed. You have to have some knowledge of yourself. And if you don't have any knowledge of yourself, or you don't have adequate knowledge of yourself, then you have to start with whatever knowledge you have. You have some knowledge. So start from there. You say, well, I don't know. I don't know. It's too much. It's too confusing. It's too overwhelming. Well, what can you do? Can you lie down? Can you give yourself permission to lie down? Can you give yourself permission to lie down and to actually receive the support that's here? That's what I'm talking about. When I'm talking about support, I'm talking about that life is the teacher, life is the support. There is one presence, one power, and that it is everywhere, always. That there is no time and no place in which this presence and power is not, that it is in this moment, in this body, in this mind, in this intelligence, in this experience, in this sensation, in this thought, in this memory, in this image, in this vibration, that everything, without exception, everything, whether I think I like it or I think I don't like it, whether I think I'm attracted to it or I think I'm repulsed by it, everything is that true teacher, everything without exception, that one power, that one presence. And so we choose a posture so that we can open ourselves to that recognition deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper, so that it pervades everything, every moment, every experience, waking, dreaming, and sleeping, so that we are always in remembrance of that truth, just from choosing a posture. So it's a posture that you're not going to be straining in, because if you're straining, at least if you're straining excessively, you'll be distracted and you'll only be focused on, oh, I'm so uncomfortable. I don't know how much longer is this going to go on. So you learn about yourself. You learn about your habits of violence, self-hatred, self-denial, self-rejection. You learn about these habits by making a choice. We think we can skip over this by just leaping to choiceless awareness, but you have to make the choice to leap to choiceless awareness. And so we have to tell the truth, which is, how stable am I? Not stable at all. We have to tell the truth about that. Recognize that my habitual way of knowing myself, my habitual way of being in this world, my habitual way of trying, doing, thinking, behaving, acting, feeling, my habitual way of everything is unstable, fearful, anxious, uncertain, hesitant. And just underneath that, there's violence, hatred, lashing out. If anybody should provoke me, push my buttons, push too far, not let me have whatever it is I think I need. So we have to see this, but we want to see this in the most gentle way. So we set ourselves up for success by choosing a posture that we can inhabit with confidence, which means without strain. So if you're not sure, lie down. You'll be surprised, even lying down, you don't know how to do that. Even lying down, you want to move. You don't want to just rest. So then you have to provide additional support. You've got to put something under the head. You've got to put something under the knees. You got to do something so that you can be stable. Because you need that stability so that you can see clearly where you're unstable and see what is the destabilizing influence. What's doing that? What's causing that? So we just are restfully still, observant, aware of our direct experience, aware of the sensations, aware of the thoughts, aware of the strain, aware of the tension, aware of the pulling, aware of the pushing, aware of all this stuff. And then surrendering, 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 letting go, softening, releasing. So let's take a moment for an invocation. Divine Mother, Father, you are that one presence, that one power, operating in and as and through all things, all of creation. And you are that one truth, that one power, that one light here, now, in and as and through each and every one of us. And we each now choose to align ourselves with that light, with that truth, with that grace, and receive that power, that healing presence that brings us ever more into alignment with our true heart desire. So we peer into our hearts and see, innocent as a child, what is there, what has been placed there as a gift before our birth, that innocent, pure delight of being who we really are, being who we really are and expressing who we really are in this world. And so we choose that here boldly, lovingly, with gentleness. We choose that truth, that inner light, that gift of inner light in our hearts. Even if our minds disagree, even if doubts arise, even if fear arises, we remain truthful to that inner light, that subtle posture of grace, equanimity, poise, ease, true power. And we allow for that to take root and begin to grow and blossom in our lives so that this world is uplifted, so that our lives are lives of goodness, healing, love, grace. And recognizing the truth of this, I give thanks and release this, knowing that it is true. So it is. So let's now really affirm that rootedness by recognizing this connection to Mother Earth and telling the truth, which is that all of our earthly needs are supplied perfectly by our Mother Earth, whose nature is abundance, fertility, beauty, and support. We can perceive that support underneath us. We can perceive that support all around us if we choose to do so. And so we choose to do that now, acknowledging and recognizing that support, knowing that we are literally supported underneath our bodies. We can perceive that support, and we can actually begin to perceive that support all the way down to the core of the earth, so that we perceive that connection, knowing that this is always here. And just remember that your intention is adequate. You don't need to have a particular experience. This is not about having some ultra visualization fantasy. This is about actually just telling the truth and then trusting and acting from that faith. So just have the intention to perceive that connection and know that it's a two-way connection. So that you are always free and actually encouraged to make an offering of all that is unmanageable for you to the earth. Release that downward to the core of the earth, knowing that the earth transforms it. Releasing all of that energy into its essential nature so that it can be utilized by the earth in her true nature, again, as abundance, prosperity, beauty, health, fertility. And then receive, open to receive. Actually notice at the base of the spine, at the perineum, at the base of the pelvic floor, that you can actually open to receive. You can actually make that choice. So from a somatic standpoint, you can actually become aware of that part of your body, and you can open, soften, release, surrender, expand, and root, ground, so that you know that this part of you is completely supported. And remember, your intention is enough. You don't have to have a particular experience. You don't have to have any particular sensation at all. You don't even have to have any sensation. You could have any kind of thought that you want. You could have any images, memories, objections, anything else, and it doesn't matter so long as you have the intention. Just remain true to that intention. Okay, so let's do a little bit of movement for those who are sitting. If you're not sitting, if you're lying on your back, you'll still be able to do this, but modify it, because you're probably not going to do as much movement. It will be very subtle, but you'll still be able to place the hand, and that will be adequate. I'm going to take my headphones off. I don't really need them, but just in case, if anybody, don't unmute yourselves and speak during this part, because I won't hear you. Okay. So for this portion, if you're seated, then we'll actually do the movement. If you're lying down, then to the best of your ability, if it's appropriate for you, you can do a modification of it. And if not, then you can just rest and imagine and know that that is actually perfectly adequate, and you will receive the benefits even that way. So for those who are sitting and wish to do so, let's bring the right hand to the top of the head. And to begin with, just notice if you're introducing any unnecessary strain to do this. So if this feels uncomfortable, if there's any strain whatsoever, then just tune into that and notice, can I let go? Can I make it easier? Can I release? Can I allow this to be less strenuous? Let the face be soft, let the tongue be soft. And remember that you can always rest. So if this becomes strenuous and you don't know how to let go of that strain, then it's better to just rest. Now, for those who are ready and interested in doing so, we're going to let the head come to the right. So we're not pulling with the hand or the arm. The hand and arm remains passive, but we're moving the head, and then the hand and arm moves passively. And then again, not pushing with the arm and hand, but letting the hand and arm remain passive. Bring the head back to upright. And we'll just do that a few more times at your own pace. So the key is don't pull or push with the hand or arm. Let it be passive. And have awareness and intention to release and soften everything so that it becomes more smooth and enjoyable and pleasurable. We'll do that just one more time. And then once you've done that, and there's no rush, but once you've done that one more time, really do it with awareness so that you can release all the way down through the left shoulder, the jaw, the eyes. And then when you're back to upright, slowly with awareness, release the hand and arm down. And just take a moment to let this integrate. So there's a newness that occurs. Remain with the newness. Don't try to get back to the oldness. So the brain wants to tell you that new is bad, new is scary, new is uncomfortable, new is vulnerable. I don't know about this. Quick, get back to the old way, but just don't. Be restful. Let everything be soft. Let everything be as relaxed as possible, as gentle as possible. Let the face be soft and just open to this newness. Let it integrate. Okay, so for those who would like to, if what we just did was more than enough for you, then you probably won't want to do the next step. But if you felt very comfortable and confident in what we just did and you'd like to do another step, we'll do that together. So if you don't feel comfortable or confident doing the next step, then you can repeat what we just did, or you could just rest. Both are very good options. So don't think that you need to do something more. For those who would like to do a little bit further of an exploration, if you're comfortable doing so, you can actually bring the right hand across the top of the head over to the left side. And then we'll repeat the same movement, but with the hand placed here. So again, the movement is with the head, not with the arm and hand. So the arm and hand moves passively. It remains here where it is, but it moves because the head moves. So let's do that a couple of times. And really pay attention to the whole body, especially the left shoulder and the left side of the neck, and let that release and lengthen. So you're not pulling. And then when you have that sense of that length and release, maintain that as you come back to upright. And remember to rest if you need to, don't strain. For anybody who would like to take it just a little bit further, well, first of all, before we do that, I get ahead of myself. Okay, let's come to rest again and do that without disturbing anything so that you can remain aware of that newness. And we'll just let that integrate for a moment. So you should notice that the left side of your neck and the right side of your neck feel fairly different. Your left shoulder and your right shoulder probably feel different. The right side of your head and the left side of your head probably feel different. So just allow for that newness. Don't try and get back to the old way. Even if you feel like you're tilted, you're not straight, you're not upright, you're bowed, whatever, just stay with the newness. Release any unnecessary effort, but don't make any adjustments. Okay, and so we'll do one more step in this sequence, and this is, again, only if you felt comfortable and confident with the prior move. Otherwise, you do what's appropriate for you. Okay, so for those who wish to do so, we can again bring the right hand to the left side of the head, and we'll bring the left. Now this might be a little bit challenging for some people, but you'll find it eventually. Bring the left hand up to the left collarbone, and you'll notice that the fingers can kind of gently grip the top of the collarbone, the kind of hook on it, gently. And now we'll keep this left hand and collarbone where it is in space, so that we're not bringing it along for the ride. Okay, so we're keeping this anchored here as we do the same movement we just did with the head. So this will help to really clarify where you're holding unnecessary tension in the soft tissue that connects between the head and the collarbone. So there's muscles there, there's fascia there. So we'll just do this a few times. Really be sure to soften. Let the tongue and jaw be soft. Let the side of the face be soft. And let it continue to be soft. So you may notice that even up here in the temple, around the ear, the jaw, all of this may soften and lengthen. It may actually be quite dramatic in some cases. And we can do that one more time if you'd like. And then slowly release both hands. And again, just integrate that newness by being restfully still and allowing the newness, noticing what's different, noticing the difference between the sides, just remaining open, letting the breath be gentle, satisfying. Okay, and then probably you want to do the other side. I'd like to do the other side. It would be nice to balance it out. So we'll do the other side. So the same sequence. So we'll start with left hand on top of the head, and pause here and let yourself be aware. So often we just leap into things without taking the time to set ourselves up, right? So we want to, if we start the movement with a lot of unnecessary effort, then we just carry that unnecessary effort into the movement, and then we're not going to get as much of a positive result. So we want to take the time to really become aware of where we're straining so that we can release that. So you might notice that, for example, you might be doing something in the left shoulder that's unnecessary. You might be pulling in the lats down below. You might notice, you might be squeezing your face. Okay, so just be aware and soften. Let the tongue be soft, let the eyes be soft, let the shoulder be relaxed, let the breathing be relaxed. And remember that you can rest anytime. It's good to rest if you need to, don't strain. So then, for those who are ready, we can let the head tip to the left and the arm and hand goes along passively. Be aware of what's happening in the right shoulder. Let that be soft. Let the right side of the face and jaw be soft. And then come back to upright with the head, letting the arm and hand be passive. We'll do that 2 more times at your own pace. And remember, you can rest if you need to. And then slowly release the hand and just remain restfully still, allowing for this newness to integrate. Notice what's changed. So I notice a big difference just with that. I notice a lot more balance between the 2 sides. I notice that the right side of my scalp feels quite a bit more supple. I have a lot more enjoyable sensation in that part of the body now. Of course, you'll notice whatever you notice, but just be aware. Be aware and don't indulge any habits of getting back to the familiar. Just be restfully still, releasing any unnecessary effort. And then for those who would like to, we'll go to the next step, which is to bring the left hand to the right side of the head across the top. And then still letting the arm and the hand be as passive as possible in this movement, and doing it with the movement with the head, or really more like the neck. We'll tip the head to the left, letting the right shoulder be long and relaxed. Really intend inwardly to lengthen and release. So you can, many people will feel that above the ear, there can be a great release, a lengthening. So let that happen. And then maintaining that softness and suppleness, come back to upright. Notice how little clenching of the jaw is necessary to move the head. That's a miracle in and of itself. Let's do that a couple more times. Remember, never strain, never push. So if this is strenuous for you, just rest. It's much better to rest than it is to strain. And then everybody come to rest slowly so that you don't disturb the newness, and then just remain with that newness. Notice what's different. I notice it all the way down to the chest. My chest feels very different. Back of my neck feels quite different. Shoulders feel different. And then for those who wish to do so, we'll do the 3rd step. So again, bringing the left hand to the right side of the head, and then bring the right hand to the right collarbone. So, and fingers can form a hook that kind of hooks onto the collarbone there. So it should be stable and firm, but gentle. It's not, you're not, using excessive aggression here. It's just a hook that hangs gently there on the collarbone. And then we're going to keep that collarbone and shoulder where it is in space, and we're going to move the head. We'll do that 3 times at your own pace. Remember, the awareness is the key. So just doing it mechanically isn't going to give you nearly the kind of results if you just do it slowly with awareness. And then when you're ready, release the hands and we'll let that integrate. Really observe what's new, what you're aware of now that you weren't before. I notice changes through the entire body. I notice that I have an experience of being more stable at the base, more grounded, more confident, more powerful, more integrated. Of course, it's not the only experience possible. You could have any experience whatsoever, but just be aware and don't be concerned any which way. You'll have judgments that it's good or bad, but don't be concerned either way, because the awareness, the seeing, is the real value. Be open to the good and the bad equally, because either way you are seeing, either way you are learning, you're discovering. And now let's become aware of the natural breath and just allow our attention to rest with the breath and to be observant of our habits as they relate to the breath, and then releasing the unnecessary habits so that the breath becomes truly free and non-mechanical. So you can start to notice where the breath feels restricted, where there's resistance, discomfort, strain, dissatisfaction. It's a really powerful healing practice. You might be surprised at just how profoundly healing it is, because so many of us have learned to try and control our experience, to manage our pain and our fear through holding the breath or turning the breath unconsciously at unnatural points. And so when we bring our attention to the breath in this way, it's different than just watching the breath. It's watching the breath with the intention and the awareness, so that we can release the unnecessary. We can release the self-effort trying to protect, armor, correct, fix, numb, and so forth. So we are literally learning to breathe through it, breathe through the experience. So the breath should be gentle, relaxed, no gasping for air, no air hunger, no squeezing, no pushing. Feeling that support, letting yourself be anchored and grounded so that as you naturally inhale, you experience that stability and groundedness. Let the exhale be unforced. And at first, the breathing will have a lot of spasms, so don't be dismayed. Those spasms will cause the breath to be unnaturally fast and jerky. But as you persist in this process with awareness and gentleness and self-love, with an attitude of nourishment, rather than force or strain, then you will find that slowly, gently, bit by bit, those spasms ease up and the breathing becomes smoother, gentler, subtler, more fulfilling, more pleasurable. Just notice where the gripping is, notice where the armoring is, notice where the tension is, notice where the restriction is, and just have the intention to release, to soften, to open, and then let the breath move freely, pleasurably. You'll notice that it moves in such a pleasurable way. You had no idea that you could experience so much pleasure and bliss as you perceive the increasing suppleness of your torso, your whole body, suppleness of the rib cage, the pelvic floor, the lower abdomen, the lower back. All of this can become supple and soft and pleasurable. Let your tongue be soft. So there are some practices that suggest you should have the tongue against the roof of the mouth, and there's a benefit to that. But if you are chronically pushing the tongue against the roof of the mouth, then that produces an imbalance. So just let the tongue be restful and relaxed. See how relaxed you can allow the tongue to be. See if it's actually true that you need to push the tongue against the roof of the mouth, or if you actually need to swallow right now. Just see if you can let the tongue be profoundly relaxed. Let it spread. Let it relax back into the mouth. Let the throat open. So now we've taken all this time to free up all this energy and cultivate all of this positivity, this openness, generosity, patience, love. And so let's give this a direction now and affirm the truth of ceaseless abundance of goodness in our lives. And let's choose to share this goodness, this inner light, as a blessing. Start by blessing our bodies. Bless the inner body, the organs. See all of the organs bathed in a healing light. Bless the bones, the marrow, the muscles, the fascia, the lymph, the blood, the skin. Radiate those blessings to your home, to your finances, to your relationships, to all of your loved ones, to all of the animals and the plants, the water, the air. Bless all the people in your city or town. Bless all of the people in your country. Bless your entire country. Bless this entire world. Bless all beings everywhere. Bless all worlds everywhere. Bless this entire universe. Bless all universes. Bless all that is. And know that there is more than enough. There is an abundance of goodness, of blessing, of healing, of all that is needed and good. And the more that you share this blessing, the more flow of this abundance there is in your life. Feel that, perceive that, and have a positive intention now for your day and for your weekend. Have this positive intention that the rest of this day and this coming weekend is an expression of that one truth, that one power and presence, and that it is good and abundant and healing. So know and claim that the rest of this day and this weekend is an expression of that. Feel that and see that and know that and intend that, and then have trust that that is so, and release that so that you don't need to carry that burden. Just know that it's already fulfilled. Give thanks that that is so. And then become aware of your body, become aware of the surface that you're on and that connection, that support. Become aware of the top of your head, your ears, back of your head, your forehead, the eyes, the nose, the tongue, the lips, the throat, chin, the neck, the shoulders. Become aware of the upper arms, the elbows, the lower arms, and the hands and fingers. Become aware of the chest and the upper back. Become aware of the abdomen, all of the inner organs, the lower back, the pelvis, the buttocks, the thighs, the knees, the lower legs. Become aware of the feet, the toes, and the soles of the feet. Become aware of the whole body. If you would like to, you can slowly, gently rub the palms together. And then place the palms anywhere on the body that would feel good to you. And just direct this healing energy there. If you don't have anywhere that you wish to place the hands, you can just hold them together at the heart. My prayer for you for the rest of this day and this weekend is love, healing, gentleness, kindness, nourishment, peace, and an abundance of goodness. Blessings to you all. When you're ready, if you would like, if your eyes have been closed, then you can begin to slowly explore opening the eyes. And there's no rush, so if you would like to take more time, that's perfectly fine. Just be sure that you do so slowly so that you can integrate the experience. Okay, so for those who are here live, we'll stay on for the Q&A momentarily, if you would like to. And I'm going to conclude the recording of the formal inquiry momentarily. I'm really happy to hear that. Thank you for letting me know. And this is, as has been the case this whole week, this has been very gentle, very nourishing, stabilizing exploration. So I don't anticipate that this should stir up much for people in an uncomfortable way. But there's always that possibility. So just remember the usual guidelines. Be very gentle. Be loving. Be loving with yourself. Okay, that's the hardest thing for most of us. But if we don't nourish ourselves, then we don't have anything to give. So we have to nourish ourselves so that we're able to give. If we don't receive the blessings, if we don't receive the healing, if we're not open to that, if we don't open to that stabilizing effect, then we become depleted and we don't have anything to give. So it's essential to love yourself. It's not an indulgence. It's an essential thing to love yourself, to treat yourself with kindness and nourishment, to forgive yourself. So whatever comes up, whatever happens in your life, forgive yourself. Forgive yourself for your. I make mistakes too. Forgive yourself for if the impatience arises, if frustration arises, if anger arises, if arrogance arises, all these things that we say, or greed. Forgive yourself. See yourself as innocent. See yourself as a newborn baby and forgive yourself. And then from that forgiveness, choose to Give yourself the nourishment that you need. Recognize that those things arise because there's some inner sense of lack, an inner sense of lack of support. If we truly know that we are supported, that we're carried every moment, that our every need is supplied for, if we truly know that we are guided in every moment, that we cannot fail, if we really know that level of support that's here, then those things don't arise, do they? If I know that my health is perfectly cared for, that my material needs are provided for, if I know that I am loved, if I know that I'm nourished, then impatience doesn't arise. So impatience arises because of a mistaken perception in lack, a lack of support, a lack of time, a lack of what's necessary. So forgive yourself if that arises, because you can just see it was just a mistake. It was an innocent mistake that I perceived that there was lack. So first, forgive yourself, and then give yourself what you need, that nourishment, so that you can perceive the support. So be gentle. Don't demand of yourself that you should not have any earthly needs. Don't demand that you should be like the guy in the Himalayan cave who doesn't eat or drink anything, who doesn't have any relationships. Instead of seeing yourself as inferior, see the 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 incredible beauty and offering of your life as you truly are. What a gift to bring high spiritual truth to where you are, to your family, to your friends, to your body, to your job, to this planet. What a beautiful gift. It's an enormous blessing. I'm really honored by each of you, your commitment, your willingness. It's an inspiration to me. So I thank you for all of you for your willingness to love yourself. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And I know it's challenging, but forgive yourself, love yourself, nourish yourself, care for yourself, and see that you can do it in a way that's not indulgent. It's just honest. That's all. You just be honest. I'm human. I'm having this particular experience. I'm living in this place with these people, doing these things. I need to eat. So eat well, love yourself, nourish yourself, bless your food, bless your body, bless the water that you drink, bless those around you. And if things are challenging, just pray. May I see more clearly. May I act in accordance with love. May my words be guided by love. May my intentions be guided by love. May I see clearly and truthfully and honestly through the eyes of love. Whatever arises, if there's fear, may I see through the eyes of love. May I feel through the heart of love. I surrender all that is unmanageable. I surrender all that is unworkable. I surrender all that is producing suffering and discord. And I open to newness, and I receive that grace. May it infuse my mind and my heart and my soul, so that I can walk in a good way on this earth in my life. and be a blessing to myself and others. You deserve that kind of kindness. You deserve that kind of love. So receive that for yourself. And also, this is more for people who are watching the recording who don't have access to the messenger group, but just know that you're not alone. If you need support, reach out. I know that people go through dark times. I've been through some dark times. I know it's challenging to go through those dark times, and to go through the dark times perceiving incorrectly that you're alone. It's very, very difficult. So don't think that you have to be alone. Don't think that you are alone. Reach out. You can send me an email. So I'm going to end the recording now. Thank you.